All right, so I'm glad I got you here for the first interview that we're gonna do together. I'm gonna start it over.
You might just say that over.
I am
You
gonna
can
say it
just
over. Today we have Sheena from
Education Over Debt Foundation.
and we're going to talk about her business and exactly what she has going on because I think the work she's doing is very important. And Family Gems is all about helping out the next generation, and that's what she's all about. So we are aligned. So let's do it. So tell me about.
Take the dog outside.
No, it's okay because we got it. I got the sound. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right. So tell me more about your business.
All right, so Education Over Debt Foundation, we give out scholarships to students going to college. We also provide workshops for students to help them with their critical thinking skills. We do college tours to expose them to college living. And then we do 5Ks to expose them to an overall healthier lifestyle.
You have any trouble just like, I guess, getting the message out to people or any marketing issues in the beginning?
I mean, I have marketing issues now. But as far as, no, I think it was more, I guess at the beginning, yeah, giving out the scholarships here in Charlotte was a little bit challenging. The students didn't apply the first time that I offered the scholarships, so I had to do it again. And so, yeah, so coming from Chicago had an easier way to market or get out scholarships to students. Here in Charlotte, I don't know what they're doing, but it's a little bit more challenging.
What do you think it is in Charlotte?
Well, they don't have a platform for it, for
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
And so
yeah.
you're just contacting the counselors. If the counselors, send the scholarships to students, that could be, they got so much on their plate, they may or may not do that. So
Right.
that's not a guarantee.
What made you what made you start this venture? What made you go into doing this?
Yeah, so I always wanted to give out scholarships to students. So I think college is great because it exposes you to a lot of different things, not only just educationally, but also peers, the faculty. You just learn different lessons, right, as a young person growing into an adult. And so I think I knew I wanted to give out scholarships because for minorities, we take out more student loan debt because it's starting to change a little bit now, but for most cases, once they give you, we don't understand that tuition is really for the full year, but you pay per semester. Right. So if you have a balance and a refund check, they'll get that back to you. So you get the check in your hands for $5,000. You never see that much money. Most people tend to spend that money on cars, get the car fixed. That's the first thing. Nowadays, it's your phone. Go live in luxury apartments, maybe even travel. They take that money to do other things, not realizing they need the money to pay next semester for the tuition. So because they don't have the money because it's already spent, now they have to take out more student loan debt. And so that's how we end up having more student loan debt compared to like white people, because we take out more, not really understanding what it's supposed to be used for.
Okay. So you have a background in, and that was a beautiful answer too. You have a background in finance. So what are some pointers that you would give to young adults coming up? I know you kind of briefly touched on that, but like what pointers would you give them when they are embarking on their college life or just going out into the real world period?
Yeah, I would say first, if you can, try to open up a savings account. An online savings account typically have higher interest rates. So when you do go to college, if you do get a refund check, you could put it somewhere and hold it for the next 3-4 months so you have to pay the next balance, right? That would be one thing. Nowadays, you can easily invest with spare change accounts. So you could do that with Acorn, Stash. I think Robinhood may have one as well. So you could easily invest your spare change. So if you go to the store and spend $10.50, they take the 50 cents out of the side, and then once you get $5, they'll invest it. That's a managed platform, meaning the money managers will manage it for you. You just fill out a risk tolerance questionnaire. So you're just saying, hey, I feel comfortable with this amount of risk, and they will manage it. So you don't have to really worry about doing it yourself. That's an easy way to get started with investing. Non-retirement account, so you're not going to get taxed on if you pull it out under the age of 59 and a half. You will still get capital gains tax rate on that money, but overall capital gains tax rate may be like 10%. It ranges from 10 to 20% now, but for most people that's not millionaires, it's usually around 10%. So it's not gonna hit you over the head, right? Just saying, because people hear taxes, they get scared. But if you only make, let's say, $500 gain, then you get $50 from that spare change account. And by the end of the year, the first time I started doing spare change accounts myself, I was saving like $42 a month.
Wow.
And so you just never think like change can add up to be that much.
Right.
Even though $42 isn't a lot, but considering it was just coming from spare change, I wasn't doing anything outside of that, and it came out to $42. I thought that was pretty a lot. And then you look at that over 12 months, you know.
Yeah.
And then it could grow a little bit. So that's an easy way to get started. Something you don't have to think about because it automatically comes out, right? You don't have to do it when you get paid or try to save money. I think that's a lot of times people say, oh, I'm going to save money on this day. I'm going to save when I get this. But if you set up the discipline to just save every 2 weeks or save however, whether it's coming out of your paycheck or whether it's coming from your bank account, you just moving it over, that's a lot better than to say I'm going to do it when, because then you usually don't do it.
Right.
Something always comes up, right? And then another thing for online savings account, I like to tell young people, if you are the type, in our community, you hear things like, oh, money burn a hole in my pocket. So if you are the type where you see $20 and you got to go spend it, the online savings account will kind of block that because it takes 2 to 3 days to get back to your regular bank account. So that's the way to build a discipline or a boundary to ask yourself, is this a need or is this a want, to help you try to establish, you know, say, like, get some money. That makes sense. Another thing I would say, too, when I was at the community colleges, teaching at community college, a lot of the students, so I wrote a book in 2016, and the book was How to Get a Bachelor's with Little to No Debt, and it was catered towards my community college students. It wasn't catered towards everybody else. Mostly the challenges I saw with them, a lot of them was back in community college because they failed or dropped out of the 4-year school. A lot of times they were sending money back home or doing things trying to help out their parents and their siblings, and so now they're back in community college. And so what I would say today is just kind of like for young people to realize, like, you have to, like Steve Harvey said something like, you can't be poor, help the poor, so he be saying. So you kind of gotta get some money yourself before you try to go back and help everybody else. You got to get out the hole first, and then you can live as you climb. But you got to be out the hole to live. Yeah. So just like being real, like your parents are adults, and like you're not. So I don't think they should put the whole burden on the kid. Right. You could just relax and not ask them for money just right off the gate. You know, you know, to say it could be helpful. Right. Just saying.
Yeah, my pockets a little.
Just a little bit.
Maybe just chill.
A little bit.
I get it.
So I see that a lot in our communities, especially for men and women too. Now women too have the same burden. In the black community in general, it's like the one that go to college, everybody want to put all their weight on that person, and reality is they're not really there to be carrying on.
Just trying to get me right first.
Yeah, you know, the mask on your own face before you can put the mask on other people.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and then just trying to like figure it out. A lot of times I think that's
I'm with that rant. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that rant. I'm with it.
But yeah, so I saw a lot of students like that in community college.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of community colleges, finances all together, what we like to do as young black adults when we get our refund check is go crazy. Yeah. We want to go out to eat. We want, first of all, Mad Wingstop. We want alcohol. We want brand new shoes. We want clothes. We want an iPhone. We want all this stuff as soon as we get our refund check, instead of taking that refund check and doing something productive with it. So what do you suggest that our young black teens do once we get that refund check?
What that lady name was, though.
That's okay. Go ahead. Let's start with it again.
So when I moved to Maryland, it's this lady. She was one of our cousins, girlfriend or wife or something, right? Older, like third cousin, somewhere in there, right? Some grandma bill,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, she said something to me that I remember, but I didn't follow. But she said, "Don't get up here and spend all this money in rent, because Maryland is really expensive with rent." Right. And that's what she said. She said, "Don't get up here and spend all your money in rent." Right. And I heard her, but my thinking was, I don't want to stay in the hood. I don't want no roaches. I don't want no rats. In D.C., you know, more urban environment. Right. I just didn't want to be in the hood.
Urban.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it urban instead of in the hood.
I got you. Mm-hmm.
But as a result, I end up moving every year because rent goes up every year, and I couldn't keep up with the increases.
Yeah.
And so that was a question I started asking when I would move into the apartment. But
She ain't
had
want
I
to be
just to her, I should have just stayed in Southeast and called it a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I moved every year in Maryland, and so
yeah.
I think we want something different. We don't really understand the impact until later. So I lived in Maryland for 7 years. So I rented for those 7 years. I could have been accumulating wealth, but I was chasing, moving around every year.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got like 2 more questions for you before we close out. The first question I want to ask you is, you have a 501c?
3, yeah.
See. So, what's your advice for someone wanting to go into starting a nonprofit business? Like, what should they look out for, and what should they be expecting?
I would say honestly, if you can find you a board of people that are go-getters that have the same values and interests as you are, that can help you really do the work. I think the first couple of years is very hard. So if you can find people that really uplift you and help you get out there, that would be step 1. The other part is easy. You can go on the Secretary of State and get the 501c3 and all that kind of stuff. That part is simple. I think it's more so the support that can be the hardest.
Right. And they shouldn't be expecting making a bunch of money.
So for nonprofits, the boards, they're not paid.
Right.
Because it's a nonprofit. So if you hire staff, that's who gets paid, but the board of directors usually don't get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Something to think about.
So that's why you have to get a good support team, because it's all volunteer hours at the end.
Okay. And the final question I want to ask you is, when you got your first big refund check, what did you do with it?
So I didn't take out any debt in undergrad, so I only took it out in grad school. Okay. So I got this idea really from a friend in undergrad, and so that's why I already knew about the online savings account. So in Maryland, we have online, so we had HSBC, ING Direct. Yeah. Now ING Direct is Capital One 360 that you probably see commercials for, but at that time it was like 4.75% interest. So I put my money in there, and I worked for some of the time when I was getting my graduate degree. So I was saving like $100 a month, and then I still had that money, so it actually earned a little interest for me. And then I just paid my tuition. So I wasn't. I was determined to finish grad school in 2 years. So I wanted to get in and get out. I got laid off during that time. In 2008, with the real estate market crash, I got laid off. So I actually ended up living on that savings for about 7 months before I got another job.
Oh, wow.
Like a real job. I was substitute teaching about 7 months or so, because I was laid off for 4 months with no job. And then I got a substitute teaching job. And I had a temporary job for a little while. Yeah. So I think in general, you can learn, like, develop the discipline of saving. You never know. It may just come in handy at some point. Right. And one of my favorite proverbs says, little by little do you accumulate wealth. So instead of waiting on a big windfall or a big payday, if you could develop the discipline over time, you look up and you see you have more than you thought, especially if you invested in the market. Right. So, yeah.
All right. Well, all this is good advice, and I hope that everybody listening is going to take this to heart. Don't that check up. I know. I know how hard it is. I did a few of them, but take that check, reinvest it, do something productive with it. You got somebody here that's pretty well versed in finance, and she's young. She's talking to you. I know people say, want to hear young people say it. Well, here she is. Listen to the information, or the checkup. It's all on you.
Yeah, just know you gotta pay it back.
You gotta pay it back. You gotta pay it back. All right. Ziggy. Ziggy wanted to say hi to you guys. Thank you, Sheena, for this interview. Ziggy's going crazy. Peace.